Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty 360. I hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. Want to welcome you back to another edition of our Leaders in Customer Loyalty series. In this series, we have the pleasure of speaking with leading brands about what they are seeing and hearing on the front lines of customer channel and brand loyalty. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Kelly Cook. She's the Chief Marketing and IT Officer of David's Bridal. How are you today, Kelly?
Thank you. I'm fine, Mark. Nice to be here. I always love talking loyalty.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for taking the time. We've known each other for quite a while, so should be a interesting conversation.
It's going to be fun. Get ready. Fasten your seatbelts.
That's good. That's good. First off, we'd like to start these on a personal level. We'll get to know those who we're speaking with a little bit more about them. It'd be great to know about your role at David's Bridal, what you do at David's Bridal, and also maybe a little bit about your history as well. You have a kind of a unique history in customer loyalty, very well respected, so it would be great to hear that as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mark. Happy to be here. My background is definitely very unique. If there was a movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that pretty much sums up my history as far as industries. Started out in the airline business, then I went to the biggest trash company in the world, Waste Management, then dipped into retail, and a mentor of mine at the time told me, he said, "You are never going to leave retail once you get in it." And he was spot on correct. So went to DSW, had an amazing time there, and just extraordinary results, extraordinary company and team. And then from there went to run Kmart and Sears for a couple of years for Eddie Lambert, which I learned a ton from, and then over to Pier 1, and now in the love business at David's Bridal and having a blast.
That's good. When you look at your kind of unique experience in customer loyalty, very diverse. How does customer loyalty kind of change between the different organizations? Is it always as prioritized? Or different brands look at it differently? Because again, you have such a unique set of companies that you've worked for. How does customer loyalty work within those different companies?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. What I will tell you is that the spirit of why companies focus on loyalty in the first place, that continues to be the same. This is consistent with every industry I've been in. The how, the what, the solution behind it can be vastly different. So I can give you a couple examples of that. When I was in the airline business and we were worried about loyalty, it was really tied to the hub and spoke model, right? There's not a lot of competition in Houston if you want to go to London on a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock, right? Continental Airlines had those flights. So your loyalty program was focused on, value and high value customers and rewards and reward levels and free stuff and all that kind of stuff. When I went to DSW, it was totally different. They had an amazing product, amazing experience, no loyalty program at all. And it was just, capitalizing on the emotion that women in particular have about that category, which is shoes and the emotion around shoes. And we built the entire rewards program around the notion of we are who we serve, which you hired shoe lovers, you serve shoe lovers. And the program there doubled in the time I was there. I mean, it's an extraordinarily successful program. It's now run by Julie Roy, who's, just an incredible CMO. And so that's DSW, but even at Waste Management, it was a totally different situation. 65% at the time of all their contracts were civic contracts, right? These are multi-year deals with communities and cities and municipalities. So then, well, how do you build loyalty if they have to do business with you for 10 years, right? So that was about experiences and value adds and so forth. When I got to Kmart, it was actually even further different because at that point there was no loyalty. And at the time I got there, the notion in the business was, well, our customer doesn't really care about loyalty. They're living to paycheck and, they're trying to buy milk for the cheapest price possible. Well, that turned out to not be true. That customer base is, incredibly excited about the lives they lead. They don't worry about keeping up the Joneses. They were the Joneses in their community. They were highly cultured, highly sophisticated, and all we needed to do was launch an app, and we had 600,000 app downloads in 60 days, and all it was coupons, right? Because that's what they valued. So you get here to David's Bridal. And Mark, everybody thought we were crazy when we launched the loyalty program. What do you mean somebody's going to get 12 times and come marry 12 times and come to you for 12 wedding dresses? And the answer is no. We are the only, and Mark, you may know because you get a chance to see all the industries in the world. This is the only crowdsourced loyalty program that I know of. And the reason why we launched Diamond Loyalty here was we found out that 62% of all women that attend a wedding as a guest, just as a guest, not even in the bridal party, buy something new to wear. They don't want to wear something in their closet. So if you've got 100 women coming to your wedding, which is highly likely because the average attendance is 200, if you've got 100 women coming to your wedding and 62 of them are buying a new dress and they get their dress at David's, we were like, well, why not give the bride the credit for that? It's her wedding. That is what Diamond Loyalty is here. It's a completely crowdsourced program. And so what the brides do is they put these little cards in their invitations that say, hey, we're members of the Diamond Loyalty program at David's. If we get 5,000 points, we give them a free honeymoon. And that's what Diamond is all about. That's how it's built. And we've given away 500 honeymoons in 22 months. So it's been tremendously successful. We have over 2 million members now. And so to recap, the essence and the spirit of loyalty is the same, but the method of which you ideate around it and solve for it and solution around it is completely different.
Well, that's awesome. And obviously you are definitely rewarding the bride for her loyalty, right? Maybe she gets married the second time too, but kind of thinking outside the box is a great way. And I hate to use that term because it's very colloquialism, very much a colloquialism, should I say, but it is. You're thinking about it differently, understanding kind of what drives behavior and how do you incent those in the program who can have the most impact. So that's great to hear, how you develop that program.
Right. She's the influencer. There's no doubt about it. And we love rewarding the bride. She's very stressed. This is emotional. It's overwhelming. It's stressful. This was all about calming her down and giving her things to think about and not worry about the honeymoon. And, the NPS score on this program is in the mid 70s. Like it is highly regarded by our customer base. And to be honest, Mark, what's even more exciting about Diamond and even more exciting as we look out in the future of our company and our business and the growth available to us, we just launched Diamond Prom. So take the same crowdsourcing, strategy of Diamond, but apply that to a high school instead of a bride. There's a prom, there's 500 students, 250 girls are buying dresses. Now what we do is we say, sign your school up. And as soon as you get 100 dresses at your school, we're going to give you a free photo booth for your prom. And oh, by the way, you can also win a free scholarship. We have 5,000 high schools right now enrolled in Diamond Prom. We've only had it live about 6 weeks, and so the construct of Diamond being crowdsourced is a very sort of serendipitous opportunity for us, because the next solution that we're going to launch is Diamond Quinceañeras, because families are spending, the quinceañera industry is about a $22 billion industry, and you've got this wonderful moment where families are pitching in to make this moment extraordinary. Why not have that family receive the benefit of all of that activity, and then the mom and dad of the quinceañera can take a trip with a free, it's not a free honeymoon, it could be a free getaway, a free trip, a free date trip or whatever. So we're very fortunate to have come up with something that is grounded in the heart of serving her and serving others. And we're pretty proud of it.
That's awesome. It's great to hear the evolution of the program. I know you launched the David's Bridal loyalty program around 2 years ago. What are 2 or 3 things that you think that you're doing well? Obviously, kind of the iteration is very impactful. What do you think? What are you most proud of in the program?
Yeah, well, I can tell you what's working and what's not because we stay very close to our members on this. The thing that we're and when I say proud of, it's about making sure the bride is happy. And there's three things about the program she absolutely loves. One is the program's free. Because when we debated this at the beginning, we're like, do we charge for this? Do we not? So she loves the fact that it's free. Two, she loves the discounts. She loves feeling like that she's got discounts that she can use. She can pass on to the guests of her wedding, her bridal party, her flower girl, her mom, her spouse's future spouse's mom. And then the third thing that they like is they love the free gifts, but especially the free honeymoon. They value the free honeymoon as their number one favorite thing 52% of the time. So we're glad that we've come up with a program that she values and is happy with. Where we need to do a better job and improve is she wants to get to her honeymoon faster. She wants an opportunity to earn either points accruals, double points. What can I earn points at outside of David's Bridal? For example, tuxedos. They're either buying a suit, custom made a suit, or they're renting a suit, right? And so we have extraordinary partners with Black Tux. They're one of our preferred platinum partners. So what we're going to be doing next month is the bride can also earn points on the tuxedo purchases. And so if you've got a dad, two dads, a groom, 5 groomsmen, and your fiance, you're talking 8 tuxedos. With those rentals, that can get her, another 1,000 points closer to that honeymoon. So that's the number one thing we need to do better. And she wants more discounts because, and the discount issue is getting bigger in her mind as financial confidence or lack of financial confidence in her future or the economy grows, which it's been growing steadily for 12 months now. We have to look for new ways to help her economically.
Okay, excellent. And when you look at partnerships, that's a huge area of interest from our membership. We actually run a partnership network that helps brands engage with the brands that have similar audience demographics or profiles and have kind of a similar or at least advantageous approach to partnerships, which can be challenging. How do you look at partnerships for David Bridal? It sounds like they're a key part of your growth strategy. What do partnership opportunities mean to David's?
Oh, well, they're huge, Mark, because we just launched Pearl Marketplace. We launched Pearl Marketplace the last week of January. And we have 6,000 vendors on it already. We just launched it a few weeks ago. So, there's the sort of elementary, I guess, level or approach to partnerships, just providing a marketplace that connects wedding vendors to the brides. And we're beating all of our KPIs on that right now. Again, we just launched it. But if you look at a more deeper relationship with partners, more intimate relationship with partners, we have a dedicated team that all they do is have those relationships with other vendors, and we probably have 300 to 500 somewhere in that range that are bigger than just the Pearl Marketplace. These are I'll give you an example. We're talking to a partner right now who I won't say, but it is a home building slash improvement, home improvement major retailer. And do you know why we're going to partner with them? Because 2/3 of the brides are buying things for their new home within 90 days of getting married, whether they're renting or buying. They need furniture, they need lumber, they need fixtures, they need sinks, they need appliances. So the data, the monetization of the data behind the loyalty program is just tremendous for us, but not just us, but we can help our partners grow their businesses as well, right? Because we know from years of historical data on the bride's journey, what she's doing right after she's getting married, 3 days or 30 days after she's married, 90 days. And so this home improvement retailer is like, yeah, we want that. This is way more efficient than trying to do direct mail when somebody gets married or buying a list. And then when you combine that with the fact that we can do deals that are commission based, meaning we don't get paid unless you're converting that bride, it's no risk to our partners. That's why it's working for us. It's very efficient spend for them.
Absolutely. And I think being able to share that data in a manner that's conducive to the client, right? Where you put the client first, the customer first, especially with CCPA and GDPA, GDPR and CDPA and other states that are looking at privacy in a more constrictive manner. I think partnerships are going to be a huge opportunity for brands that can monetize and, more importantly, bring value to the respective programs.
Well, we have, yeah, and I think that's an awesome point that you made, Mark. We don't do that unless we have permission. We are a permission-based
Yep.
organization, not a forgiveness, based. So we go through, monthly, legal reviews, privacy law reviews. We have people on staff that do nothing but govern that to make sure that we are doing a good job for her. And we take that aspect of those relationships extremely seriously. I mean, she is trusting us with that opt-in, right? She is
Absolutely. Yep.
trusting us, and we have to be extremely respectful of that trust.
Okay. Excellent. When you talk about trust, there's a change happening with regard to the customers. Brands are right, they're cognizant of that. How do you think your customers are changing? Maybe coming through COVID, going out of COVID. You talked about looking for discounts, looking for value, wanting to get to certain reward thresholds more quickly. How else do you think your customers are changing during kind of this time now?
Well, you named, well said, you named a lot of those changes that I consider to be sort of macro continual changes in behaviors by customer. But there's a couple of more that we're seeing, and there's some good things, and then there's some things that we're seeing change that we really have to rethink how we go to market. One of the good things that is changing, sort of we're seeing permanently, is the idea of sort of AR, augmented reality sort of views as she's pre-shopping. So we tested this during COVID, and it worked. And what all it is that we have the ability on our website for brides to on their phone, look at their phone and be able to render the gown in an excruciatingly beautiful amount of detail right in front of her on her phone. And she can actually walk around this dress, but it's all AR. She's rendered it in the room that she's standing in. And we did that because, bridal is about the only category that has not had exponential growth of moving from bricks to online. We're still at about 9%. Right. And the reason why is she wants to try it on. She wants to feel it. She wants to bring her squad. She wants that moment of finding, quote unquote, the one. So we developed that AR capability when we weren't able to service her in that way because the stores were shut down, but it's ended up being a staple in our experience because she likes the ability to do that. In fact, now she's telling us, well, in addition to that, I like for you to do it on the bridesmaid's side so I can actually render 5 dresses together right in the same room with me so I can see how these dresses look side by side.
That's
A
awesome.
color
Yep.
a color family. Yeah, so that's an example. An example of something that we're seeing macro change that is something that we're thinking through how to react to is the permanent fact that Amazon is a search engine now. That is a continually evolving paradigm of behavior that has changed. And over half of all product searches on the global web are started on Amazon. And so not all searches, all product searches, right? And so we have to be thoughtful about that. We have to be thoughtful about that. Our storefronts there, what do the storefronts contain? We've had great relationships with Amazon in the past. We're looking to sort of rethink that relationship now in that context. But that changes things, right? I mean, if they're not going to Google and they're going to Amazon, and a search experience in Amazon is completely different than a search experience in Google. And so we're, rethinking what that means to us right now. But to be honest, Mark, the interplay between Meta and Google and Apple between iOS privacy, data reciprocity changes, to retargeting, all of those things that you mentioned earlier. It's really forcing CMOs to think completely differently how they grow their top line.
Absolutely.
We're going back to digital and streaming. We're going back to linear. We're going back to these big linear moments. We've been on the NFL a couple of times. Our traffic skyrockets. I mean, we were on Monday Night Football. Unfortunately, it was with the Cowboys, which I don't like, but that's because I'm a Houston Texans fan. But we don't have to go there. But both commercials of mine were in a Cowboys game. But it worked, right? And they're double devicing. They're watching a streaming device that's cut cord, and they're on their phone. And our site traffic doubled, right? And so we're having to do those things, one, because of the interplay between Google and Apple and Meta, which is tough, but two, the inflation in the middle funnel and digital is almost unbearable right now. So we're forcing, we're forced to look at the world differently and rethink how we, grow top line, speak to our customers, attract new ones.
Excellent. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, especially with kind of how litigious a number of countries are. I'm sure you're quite familiar with what's going on in Europe, in the EU, Scotland,
Absolutely.
suits against Meta, suits against Google. There, the DOJ is still looking at Meta with regard to acquisition. So it's a very pliable time right now. But there is kind of a push towards protecting the individual's rights, and I think at some point you will probably see, based on what we see, is that individuals will own their own data file in some manner, right? So it's moving more and more towards that, especially what you have in Europe. But I think rethinking that is very important, because we have brands. We just ran a large RFP for a brand where they didn't want to be hosted in AWS, right or wrong. They didn't want their data there, even though it's protected. There's an algorithm. It's encrypted. There's still the thought that it could be potentially tampered with, or should I even support Amazon if they're a huge competitor to me? And I think having a CMO like yourself, who is cognizant of the challenges that exist and being able to think through them in a pragmatic way, is very important, because it is a very rapidly changing environment, from technology to legislation to understanding what the customers want to engage with and how to do so, and then the competitive threats. Competitive threats are very diverse right now.
Yeah, that is very, very well said, Mark. And we're doing something similar to your client friend that you were just referring to, not necessarily with the Amazon's cloud, but with our marketplace we just launched.
Yeah.
The next phase of that is an ad network that sits on top of that our partners can either buy into, they can buy those page links, whatever it may be, because we have it's both good and bad. We serve a set amount of people in a very specific time of their life for a very specific purpose, right?
Right.
They have intent behind every action that they take. So for our partners, both ones that are on the platform in Pearl and or placing ads, it's a high conversion opportunity for them, because the bride has intent at every step of the way. She has got a purpose and an agenda. I'm creating my RSVP list. I'm booking the DJ. I'm figuring out what kind of cake I want. I decided I don't want a cake. I want to do a donut wall, right? We're looking for a donut. To be honest, we're looking for a donut partner right now, because we have so many brides that are doing donut towers and donut walls. We've got to provide some really good opportunities for her with donuts. But that's an example. So if you think about that one example, right? We've got almost 20% of brides going, I'm opting out of a cake. I'm going to do a donut wall. And you're a small donut vendor in some small town in, let's say, Iowa, but you want access to all these brides, and you can get on the Pearl platform for $50 a month. Like it's an extraordinary opportunity. So
Absolutely. Well, the second last question I have, we've kind of talked about the economic uncertainty. Some brands are preparing for the worst. Durable goods, somewhat of a challenge right now. We have about 140 brands that are members. We talk to them quite often. Those who have more durable good type products are a little slowed down, but some are doing better than ever, right? So kind of an era of economic uncertainty. Job creation still very high, unemployment's low, inflation's still high. It may not come down to where people want it to for a while. how can customer loyalty and the things that you're doing, creating this community, creating value adds, looking at partnerships, can customer loyalty, kind of that bigger picture focus on customer loyalty, be a hedge against some of that economic uncertainty?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's true, and I think it certainly is for us. And it's a there, but it comes through and it manifests itself in sort of different ways, Mark. One, there's the very literal connection between her wallet and her lack of confidence in the future. And I've mentioned those kinds of things already. Discounts through our own product, discounts through our partners who are putting up their best offers on our Pearl platform. But there's also other sort of important things to her from a loyalty perspective that actually don't cost money, and I'll give you examples. Brides tell us, I wake up in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat, and I just don't know what my wedding's going to look like, and I have all these options, blah 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 blah. And my favorite way to just feel inspired is a video, and I just want to see videos. So we created a 24/7, 365 YouTube channel that is nothing but wedding videos. And they play 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. To her, that is loyalty. To her, that is satisfying a need. To her, that is something that is meaningful to her. Is there a literal connection between a financial stability? Maybe, because her wallet is extremely compressed. This year is the first time that we've actually seen wedding budgets start to flatten. They were about $21,000 for weddings before COVID. They peaked at about 27,000 wedding after. We're starting to see that come down a little bit, mainly because of inflation. Venues are more expensive, bakeries are more expensive, and so forth. So I think the spirit of your question around loyalty and serving the customer in the ways that are meaningful is a variety of things, notwithstanding her wallet.
Okay, excellent. Well, last question I think we have is, what can Loyalty 360 do to help you and your team with regard to kind of the customer loyalty program you have and your approach?
I think look, and I touched on it already. The biggest thing one of our biggest strategies in marketing are we have to rethink top of funnel, because we can't win in middle of funnel anymore because of the inflation, ad bifurcation on Google, Amazon search engine. There's just simply not enough money to go around to appropriately optimize all those channels. There's just not. And so what we are looking at is three things. One is disruptive partnerships that are meaningful. And I'll give you an example. We tested this last year. We did a partnership, David's Bridal, with Budweiser. Nobody was expecting it. Nobody was expecting David's Bridal and Busch Beer. We made wedding gowns, camo wedding gowns, camo bow ties. Like the amount of traffic we got off of that story was so incredible. Nike just did it, right? Nike and Tiffany's just did it. Beautiful example of what I'm talking about, right? There's a lot of awesome, yummy case studies out there. I think that what they did was just tremendous. So we have to look for disruptive partnerships that gets people's attention of things they're not expecting. Maybe David's Bridal and Domino's Pizza does a deal. Why? Because women are trying to cut costs down at their wedding, and now they're looking at doing pizzas instead of prime rib. You see what I mean? It's grounded in serving her. But from a marketing perspective, you're looking at disruption because it gets people's attention. You're like, oh my God, I had no idea David's Bridal has a deal with Domino's and Dunkin's. Oh my God, that solves my pizza and donut problem right there, I'm doing this on purpose. Hint, hint, Domino's and Dunkin's out there, if you're listening to this, give me a call. So disruptive partnerships are one. Two, the other big thing is we are looking to go into original programming. Not ads, our own TV show. Because if we have some mechanism like that, then it's less about me spending ads in Google and more about creating content in a way that entertains the bride. You know, our content strategy at David's is called EIEIO, like Old McDonald's Farm.
Yeah.
EIEIO. And it stands for entertain, inspire, educate, inform, and offer. And if we create some original programming that is grounded in those components, then the marketing takes care of itself, right? So original programming is the second one. And then the third one is using Diamond as a mechanism through points accrual to be able to drive the incrementality that we need. So those are the three things that we're focused on right now.
That's awesome. Well, Kelly, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah.
Very passionate and engaged to interview. It's great to reconnect, and it's great to hear of the amazing success, but also how you're looking at customer loyalty more holistically and in a very diverse manner. That was great to hear as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you join us again for another edition of our Leaders in Customer Loyalty series. And until then, have a wonderful day.